Hi guys, John Wetmore here. I'm going to go over today on what it takes to become a Hall of Fame producer with Family First Life. If you don't know what that means, is $400,000 in issue paid premium in 1 year. And I've been fortunate to get to that position since I've been with Family First. And so what I'm going to do is kind of walk through the different things that I've learned throughout the years that it takes to get to that level and the things that we train on. It's really easy to do once you figure it out. Kind of getting to that point is the learning curve is what takes time. So I think when I look back, remember to when I was new, the things I weren't doing properly is kind of what I'll start with, and then transition into the things that I kind of figured out and what we changed and added to make it work. It's one of those things where it seems overwhelming early on when you hear numbers like that if you're new and not doing it now, but once you figure out how to tweak a few things and the proper things you need to do within the industry to hit that kind of volume, it actually becomes very easy, and you can do it in much less than 40 hours a week if you're solely selling. So I think when I look back, ultimately it all boils down to the number of appointments. It all boils down to seeing people, right? So if you see enough people, these people want insurance, they filled out a form requesting insurance, it's not really that deep. The problem is most agents, myself included early on, don't see enough clients on a regular basis and consistent enough to put up that kind of volume. So I think the most important thing that I learned early on is to really have great control over my schedule. Once I really adapted that and realized to be the person in charge of the schedule, things started to change for me, and I started running much larger number of appointments on a very consistent basis, and that sort of drove everything else falling into place. Now, so I'll go through a few things again. I think if I narrow it down to a handful of items, I think schedule is very important. The number of appointments you run within that schedule is going to be very important. And of course, to do that, you need the proper amount of leads. And I think combined with that, mindset and the way you think about this business and look at it is very important as well. So I'll kind of break down each one of them. If I look at my schedule, I'll start with schedule first. I think when I look back early on, some of the things I remember about my schedule is I would cater much more so to the client's schedule than my own schedule. And when I learned to have 2 dial days and then follow it up with 2 run days behind each dial day, everything really started to fall into place. So my schedule, right in that kind of volume, what we did is I'll start with Monday. We'd be in the office Monday mornings, 8 a.m. And we'll put the schedule up here for you and kind of break it down so you can see everything. But I'd be in the office 8 a.m. on the phone dialing at 8. So I'd prepare leads and get them all organized and all that stuff prior to. So Monday morning, 8 a.m., hit the phone, and my goal was to set somewhere between 10 and 15 appointments. It depended on the lead type and flow that week, but a minimum of 10. I tried to get 15 in those 2 days, and I would run those on Tuesday and Wednesday. And my schedule was wide open Tuesday and Wednesday, meaning I ran from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. every week. Tuesday and Wednesday for me, when I learned to block off everything in life other than running appointments on those 2 days, everything changed. Whereas if I look back early on where I was stuck at that 8, 10, 12,000 a month, I would run a couple appointments on Tuesday and then go and get a car wash or do chores, or I'd let things in life interfere with my work schedule. And when it changed back in probably 2015, I just got to a point where I was going to schedule a minimum. I wouldn't stop dialing until I had at least 5 appointments on each day. And again, I tried to get 7 to 8 if possible. That way I could put the numbers on my side. It's weird, like when I look back, and the biggest change I made was I doubled my appointments from 1 year to the next, but my production tripled. Because momentum kicks in when you start seeing a lot of people, the law of large numbers kicks in, and it's hard to lose when you're running 5, 6, 7, 8 appointments in a day, in a 2-day period. The biggest mistake I see is people run 2 or 3 on Tuesday, and then none on Wednesday, maybe 1, and then Thursday, and they mix dial days with run days, and it's just, you have to really protect that schedule and that run, and run it much like you're the doctor's office. If you try to book an appointment with a doctor and they They tell you they have an opening next Tuesday, and you say, I can't do it, I have to see you Saturday or Friday. They look at you like you're crazy because they're not available then. And you have to learn to treat this business much the same. So again, for me, dial Monday. I tried to be done by lunch. I would make 40, 50, 60 dials per hour. So I tried to get in, you know, again, earlier on. It took me a lot more dials than as I got better. But I would try to get in to where I could book that 10, 12, 15 appointments within 3, 4, 5 hours max if I could. If I didn't, I continued to dial. But my goal was always to be done so I could be done dialing. I could get on with my day. In the Atlanta office, we also had a training in the afternoon from 2 to 4. But after that, I wanted to be with family. So for me, Monday nights was family. But if I didn't have the appointments I had, again, I would dial Monday evenings as well. The cool thing is on Tuesday and Wednesday, my wife knew 100% Tuesday and Wednesdays I was checked out from personal life. She handled everything. She understood the schedule. She took care of the kids. Everything that happened within our personal situation, she would handle. And for me, Tuesday, Wednesdays, they were long days. Depending on where I was driving, if I was going 2, 3, 4 hours away, I'd be gone from sometimes 5 a.m. and not get home till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I did that Tuesday and Wednesday every week. And then what I would do from there is Thursday I'd get back on the phone and basically repeat and work the same schedule on Friday and or Saturday. I didn't do both every week. It kind of depended on my schedule. If I hit my 10,000 a week submit, I typically did 3 days in the field. I normally did 1 to 2 Saturdays a month because Saturdays are a great day to sell insurance. If I didn't hit my goal, I definitely ran Saturdays. And then I would also do it if I was trying to hit a certain volume for that. Like if I wanted to hit 50 grand that month and I didn't, I'd run extra on Saturdays because everybody's home. And I used it much as like a cleanup day as well. It's where there's people I can't see during the week and, you know, because of schedule, my schedule, their schedule doesn't match. I had a lot of very easy appointments booked on Saturdays because they were available that time, and I'd get with all those people all at once, and I'd run 5, 6, 7, 8 appointments on Saturday and be done by 4 o'clock. And then for me, the Friday and or Saturday that I didn't run was again family day, and then I did Sundays every week, family day. We have a lot of agents that run Sundays, so don't think you can't. It's a very good day to run as well. I know Terry in our office runs every Sunday, so you can certainly adjust the schedule as needed. I think the most important thing is to get in the number of appointments. And so for me, my deal was early on when I wasn't writing the volume I needed, I looked back and realized I was only running 8, 10, 12 appointments a week max. And so what I changed was, for me, I went to, I love 20 a week, but for me, my mindset, I went to 80 a month. And I did that because I didn't want to, like if my goal was 20 and I only ran 16, I didn't want to just go, well, I missed 4. Let's just do 20 again next week. If I had to hit that 80 a month, that meant the following week I had to make up those 4 I missed. So it allowed me to always run enough appointments within a month period of time. And I've been telling people this for years, that if you run 80 appointments a month every single month, you will never, ever, ever have a bad month, ever. You will always have bad days, it happens. You'll sometimes have bad weeks, but you will never have a bad month if you put up 80 a month every single month. And it's a matter of doing that consistently. So it's, again, I tracked it to make sure, and my goal was 80, so I fought to get the 80, no matter what it took. And it always worked out. Now we have some people that run 80 and maybe they don't hit the goal they want. And so we adjusted accordingly. You got to know your number. I was able to hit the volume I needed in the 80 appointments a month. If you're unable to do that, bump it up to 30. I know we got a lot of guys that run 30 in 4 days. And that's their number. That's where they are within the business. And over time, as you start seeing that number of people, you by default will get better. You know, I know early on, a lot of people want to get better before they start working more. And it sounds counterintuitive, but it is what it is. If you start running a large number of appointments, you realize you run into the same stuff all the time, the same clients, same objections, same situations. As long as you're working with someone that's making money in the business and have a mentor that you follow up with and figure out how they were doing things, you will learn how to deal with those particular clients. And you get better fast. Like I was terrible 3 years ago. Sold a decent amount of insurance, nothing crazy. And when I started running that volume of appointments, everything else fell into place. And I realized there's only a handful of different situations, and if you understand how to deal with them when you get them, they become very easy to deal with. So again, 80 a month was for me. If 80 a month, if you're running it and it doesn't produce the results you want, just come up with what number works for you. Again, if it's 30 a week, 120 a month, make it happen. And you can do it in the same 4 days. You know, we don't have to necessarily work 7 days a week, but if that's what it takes to get where you are, where you want to be, then do it. And with that, obviously to do that, we need the right lead flow. So for me, I'll give a couple different scenarios because it's changed over time. I've been doing this for now 5 years. So my lead flow, lead types, lead options have definitely changed. There was a point in time where probably 90+% of my lead flow was mortgage leads. So for me, what I did in order to run 20 a week, I needed 30 leads. I was never a guy that tried to just squeak by and try to book 15 appointments on 16 leads or 20 appointments on 21 leads. I wanted to make it easy. And I knew I could always outsell whatever my investment in leads was. So for me, if I got 30 a week, I was happy. I could book 20 very easy. And that also allowed me to have overflow to where next week it'd be easier because I'd carry over maybe the 10 I didn't get a hold of or whatever happened. So again, for me, it was 30 mortgage leads a week. As we've transitioned into adding more final expense, especially now where we have the Facebook leads, that's been adjusted. I think we have a lot of people that could make 20 appointments or even 30 appointments a week on a 10 to 15 mortgage lead a week. And then if it were me, I would add, say, 50 Facebook leads a week, final expense Facebook leads a week. That gets you the ability to book another 20, easy book 20 appointments on 50 Facebook leads and have the same volume and production with a mixture of lead flow. Obviously, the Facebook being new, we didn't have that option a couple years ago, but as of today, we're trying to get people to mix it a lot more, and you can get in a larger quantity of appointments with final expense leads because the appointments aren't as long. So you can get, I know we got guys in our office that are booking 6, 7, 8 final expense appointments in a day, and then running 4 or 5 mortgage appointments in the same day, having a lot of clients to see, and the volume. I think that 10 grand a week is definitely going to start getting bumped up to 15. We have a lot of agents submitting 15,000 a week now just because of the additional lead flow that we can produce with the Facebook leads. So with that said, all that being said, I think when it comes to mindset, if you do all that right, what it allowed me to do was to understand that if I was in the field, I didn't have to become emotional about any one appointment, any one day, even really any week. I knew if I saw enough people and set up my schedule, my lead flow, my appointments properly, that I could take the emotion out of like getting frustrated, if you will, from the stuff that happens in this business. I think a mistake people make when they're newer, and I did it as well, is we try to eliminate all the so-called negative stuff within the business. And you just can't. You're gonna have no-shows, you're gonna have reschedules, you're gonna have cancels, you're gonna have chargebacks, that stuff happens. So we have to account for it. So if we run the proper amount of appointments and factor that in, it allows you to just think very easily about going out and helping families. So for me, I always looked at it like this. Like I realized after running a lot of appointments, like I'm an accountant by trade, so I do numbers. It's kind of what I do. So I realized over time that for me, I issue pay about half of the appointments I schedule. So meaning if I schedule 80 appointments in a month, I'm gonna on average issue pay 40. It's how my numbers work. So over the course of a year, I like in 2015, for instance, I ran, I'll even back up, 2014, I ran something like 400 appointments in the year and issue paid 175. So it's about half, a little less, because I was really bad early on. Then when it came the next year, 2015, I ran 900 appointments and issue paid 460, which is again half. And then half of scheduled. You know, obviously I don't sit everybody like everybody else deals with. And then in 2016, it was the same thing. I ran 700 appointments, issued like 360. So that's just my number. So I know if I run that many of appointments, this is gonna be the production. So it allows me when I'm in the field to understand, I'll do this. Like for me, I always look at it like this. I make 500 bucks on every appointment no matter what, right? That's just how my numbers work out when you do that math. It doesn't matter if they no-show me, reschedule me, If I close it, if I don't close it, I always know I made 500 bucks. And so it allowed me to, like, when I got no-showed, I was like, sweet, I made 500 bucks. Now, the flip side of it is when you make a $250 a month sale, or heck, sell a $500,000 annuity, you have to have the same mindset and go, I made 500 bucks. And that allows you to eliminate the highs and the lows that people deal with. This very emotional roller coaster that we go through if we aren't controlling things. And that's just the way that I did it in my head, and it's the way we teach it in the Atlanta office. And we literally just look at people's appointments compared to their issue paid and let them know how much money they make per appointment they schedule. And it's, you know, I have a very high producing agent, and his number is like 320 bucks. And I tell all the new agents, I'm like, if I told you that for every appointment you scheduled, not sold, scheduled, you'd make 320 bucks, how many appointments would you schedule? And they all tell me they would never leave. I'm like, you know, that's the average. If you just, I mean, that's a low number. So if you just go, why are we stopping? Why are we going home with 4, 6, 8 appointments? It makes no sense. So we've got to learn to look at this business in the big picture and stop looking at it today, this week, and just look at it. If we put the whole year in a bucket and we know we run enough appointments, the production is going to come. And that's one of the things that we really teach, and it allows you to, if you can be in the field and not be so emotional on the inside, it allows you to really focus on clients and helping families, and not allow your own personal struggles in your head get in the way of doing what you got to do. And if you do that properly, you'll sell more. Because if you're stressed out because you have bills to pay and you don't look at things properly, the clients pick up on that. Like, they can feel that you need the sale. Whereas if you just run out and you know no matter if you sell it or not, you're gonna make 500 bucks or whatever your number is, there's no pressure. My job is to be in there, ask the right questions, help the client, give them insurance. And if they don't need insurance, I just pack my stuff and leave. And it's the last 2 years, 2.5 years since I've had that type of a thought process have been much easier to run this business and to focus on the things that I really need to focus on, and just take the emotion out of it. So hope that helps everybody. It's again, if you follow that, you can definitely get to that 400,000 issue paid. I was looking at the total leaderboard yesterday, and I noted there's something like 15 people on pace to hit 400,000 this year, and that's without factoring in the fourth quarter. That's definitely a larger production quarter. So we might have top 25 all be 400,000 Hall of Fame producers this year. So hope it helps. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Thank you.